Hi, friends. I saw these eyes and I couldn't resist. I thought they looked like so much fun to make for Halloween. So today you're going to learn how to make these kind of monster looking eyes that you could have it be an alien or a monster or something. I was feeling Halloweeny, so I thought that'd be fun for Halloween. But you're going to find out how to make eyes that look kind of realistic and cool like that, okay? And then you can add more around it if you want to. I'll show you how that works later. But I thought that learning how to make eyes like this, especially with the little white part in the black pupil, makes eyes kind of come to life. And I thought that might be a fun thing for you to know how to do for when you're doing other drawing, or maybe you're really into drawing comic strips right now, or my daughter was really into the I think it was manga. Is that what it is? The Japanese drawing cartoon stuff. Anyway, these are kind of fun eyes to be able to draw. So I thought you'd have fun tinkering around with this technique a little bit. So I hope you enjoy it. Can't wait to see your art. Okay, have fun, guys. Okay, friends, so you're going to find two circles. One is going to be the outside of the eyeball circle, and the smaller one is going to be the pupil. So this is a paper plate that I cut the edge off of because I didn't want it to be quite as big as I had it. This is the top to a Play-Doh container I had. You could use a roll of tape. You could use a plastic cup if that's okay with your parents to use as a tracer, or a bowl at your house, or whatever is easy for you to use. So you're going to start by taking the larger of the two. And I'm going to make two eyeballs on mine. You might want three eyeballs to be extra goofy, or just one to make your scary guy look like an alien or something. You get to choose. I'm going to do two, and then I'll show you how I'll make it look like it's on the head. So I'm just going to trace, not doing a very good job there, trace the outside just so that I have that on there. And then I'm going to trace the inside. And this is going to be the pupil, okay? The pupil is, of course, that big dark spot that's inside everybody's eye. And that's what that's what gets to your brain. Like, that's the whatever you look at goes through your pupil onto the back of your eyeball, and then your brain identifies what you're looking at and what it thinks about it. It's kind of cool how that works. All right, so I've got my eyeballs traced and ready to go. What I'm going to start with first is my black Sharpie, and I'm going to color the whole inside of this pupil. But what you're going to want to do is you want to leave a few spaces white, because that's going to make it look like there's a reflection happening in the eye. So let me show you what I mean by that. So let's pretend I go like this. I'm going to do one line like that. I'm going to do another one like this. You can think about when you see like cartoon characters. Sometimes they have that white dot thing going on in their eye. You could do two, you could do three, and then you're going to color in this whole black circle with your black Sharpie. I might not make you sit and watch the whole thing. You might get a little bored, but we're going to color in the whole thing as carefully as you can. And I'm suggesting the Sharpie because if you use your other black marker, that's fine for this part, but then the next part you're going to be adding paint to it. And if you add water to Crayola markers, it usually makes them bleed, and you don't want this part to go anywhere. You want it to stay right where it is. And because Sharpie's permanent, it should stay right where it is. So I'm not going to make you watch me color this. I will show you my progress in just a sec. Hold up. Okay, friends. So now you see I've got my two pupils colored in. I did my white little spots inside the pupils. I chose to make mine looking the same direction because I thought that would make the eyes look like they were part of the same creature. But maybe you want to put the white little dots over here, and maybe that would make it look like it's sort of looking cross-eyed, or if you had them like one here and one here, maybe it would, who knows what will ultimately make your eye look like, but you could tinker with that too. I like this strategy because I think especially if you start getting excited about like drawing cartoons and stuff, I think it's kind of a fun little way to add a little bit more expression to your people, make it look a little more interesting. Okay, so your next step is you're going to color in this exterior circle that you have here with your watercolor paints. Now, this is permanent, so it shouldn't bleed, but just be careful not to get it. I'm going to try hard not to get too much water in the black, just in case it decides to bleed. And with this, you can make it any color you want. Really kind of have fun with these. So I'm going to go I'm going to start with yellow, because you know yellow always gets a little bossed around. So I'll start with the lighter color. And I might even I'm going to do a thicker paintbrush, bigger paintbrush, so it takes a little more color. I'll put a base in, and then this is actually kind of a fun project to be able to start experimenting with mixing colors a little bit. Remember, if you go too crazy, you're going to end up with just brown eyes, so you might want to not go too nuts. And see, I went outside my circle a little bit here. Not the end of the world, but try to stay in it so that because you are going to go on that exterior line that you have that pencil. You're going to go over it with Sharpie once this all dries. We're going to let it dry first. Then I'll show you what we'll do next. So I'm going to go over all this with yellow first. This is just my choice. You don't have to choose yellow. You want to go with green, go with any color you want. All right, so now I'm going to do, now I'm going to go with some blue and see what happens. Ooh, that's kind of a pretty color. And I might not do all of it the same. I might just start mixing colors and see what happens. Maybe I want to add a little red. Let's see if I do some red. What happens? Some red over here. Ooh, look, I'm getting a really cool orange now. So I'm just going to tinker with these colors. You do what you want to do. You get to add what you want to add because this is your art. But I'm just having some fun here. All right, I'll do a little more blue in there and see what happens. I'm going to go too crazy because I don't want it to get brown, but maybe I'll add a little purple. Why not, right? Might as well. So I'm just mixing colors, having fun. That's getting a little brown. I don't really want it to be too brown. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my other eye. I'll paint that in. And then when I'm finished that, I'm going to let it all dry for a little bit. I know you have to be patient sometimes. This is one of those projects you have to be a little patient with because we want it to dry so that when you go over it with the next part, your marker doesn't do funny things. You don't want it to bleed or have trouble working. All right, then I'm going to add some other color. Add some more blue. And you can really have fun with these, really experiment with the colors and see what you can find. Oops, my lights went out again. My gosh, that happens every time I'm doing art with you guys. There we go. I'm going to figure out this room yet. You guys who had Miss Gilmartin last year are like, yeah, we remember that. That happened to us sometimes too. Or maybe it didn't because there was maybe always someone moving around. And you could leave like, I'm kind of liking like the kind of blobs of certain color. I kind of like how that works. Do that. Have fun with it. You know, maybe it's like a creepy guy. So you want to add some red. Ooh, it's so creepy. We are getting ready for Halloween, you know. You could even go back. You see I'm going back over that one a little bit. You can go in there a little bit more. It just will make it take a little bit longer to dry, but that's not the end of the world. Yeah, layering definitely does some fun stuff with these watercolors. So you might want to do that some. Okay, once you're satisfied with your colors, we're going to let them dry. And then I'll show you the next step after it dries, okay? I'll be back. Okay, friends, mine's not totally dry, but I want to get going to show you this next piece. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your black Sharpie again, and you're going to go around the eyeballs, Okay. And you're going to do kind of a thick line. Oh, see, it's getting on my hand around it. I'm going to turn my paper so I can keep my hand to not, if I rest my hand on the paint, that's when it kind of goes onto my hand. And then I'm going to squish it a little bit. You have time to be patient with yours. So you put yours aside for a little bit and then go back to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in a little bit more. I'm just going to make it look a little thicker. I think I want a little bit of a thicker line there to make it look more eyeball-like. I was thinking these would be fun to hang in your house for Halloween. Maybe they could, I don't know, you could put it in your window. Maybe my kids used to do that. They used to decorate our windows with Halloween decorations. Okay, so let's see. Let me do the other one. You see this one I already kind of squished a little bit with my hand, but c'est la vie. All right, here we go. Keep adding this in. I'm just carefully going around the edge of my eyeballs. Oops. If you do a little mistake like that, just make it a little thicker. It's okay. Now this next part, you're really going to want it to be dry, and I'll see if it's a problem for mine because mine's not 100% dry yet. So let me see. Next thing you're going to, oopsie, I went too far out. Oh, well, it's all right. You can, this is a forgiving project. You can always fix it. Okay, so now I'm going to take a ballpoint pen, one of these, and you're going to have to see how this works. Let's experiment with this a little bit. And definitely make sure yours is drier than mine because mine's going to cause a little trouble, I think, because it's a little wet. In fact, I'm going to, some of these puddles I have, I'm just going to dry a bit, which I think if I let it dry naturally, I think I'd like the color of the eyeballs better, but I don't quite have time today. All right, so we have that. So now what you're going to do is you're going to scribble over the colored part. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to scribble. Have you ever seen, gosh, I forget the name of it. I always forget. It's like, there are like these plastic gears and a thing, and you put the pen in and then you turn the pen around and it does these cool designs. I cannot remember it, but I always used to play with that when I was a kid. So you're kind of create one of those with your hand yourself. And you could try to use your Sharpie for this, but I think the Sharpie is going to be too thick and too black. So let me see how this works. Yeah, you're just going to start to go over, scribbling over your colors. And again, because it's wet, my pen isn't super happy with that. So definitely wait until it dries first before you do this part. And then I'm going to keep going over it to add even more lines. My poor pen is like, oh my gosh, why is it so wet? You see how I'm doing just like little oval lines here? And it just sort of adds like a cool, kind of like what the inside of an eye looks like effect. In fact, what you could do when you're waiting for your paint to dry, go to the mirror in your bathroom or your bedroom, wherever you have a mirror in your house, and check out your eyeballs. Check out the lines in there and see what it looks like. And see if you can, do you see how that's sort of looking more eyeball-like? Now, of course, my poor pen is not very happy with me because it's still wet. I think you'll have much more success if you are more patient than I and you let it dry. Yeah, this is definitely a project I should do in smaller steps. So don't be like me. Do as I say, not as I do, right? Isn't that the expression? So keep going over it because my pen is not very happy with me right now. Let me see what the Sharpie does with it. We'll experiment a little bit with this eyeball of mine. Yeah, this isn't happy either because once it gets wet, it doesn't really do what you want it to do. It gets funky. Yeah, so I would definitely let it dry. And in fact, you know what I might do? I think I'm going to take, that's looking too pencil-y. I was thinking a black color pencil could be good. But anyway, so you get the idea. You're going to do these swirlies. Then the next, you can leave it like that if you want, but I think it would be fun to make it look like it's like the top of the head, like the monster's head is like looking up over something. So what I wanted to do next was go like this. Like that's the top of his head, right? And then you could even do like a little, like that's the nose, or maybe it's like a little sad face. Oh, suddenly my monster looks really sad. Oh, poor little monster. And then maybe I'm going to color around here too to give him, maybe, oh, I'm going to make him a purple monster. Isn't that a purple people eater? Isn't that that's a song, right? My one-eyed, oh, it could be, I could have made one eye if I wanted to be like the song, the Halloween song. So now I'm going to take some purple and I'm just going to add some color here just because I think it's fun. You don't have to do this piece if you don't want to. The real idea here, the real technique I wanted you to learn was the idea of adding the white part in the pupil of the eye. You guys, you could use that technique in so much of your drawing when you're having to draw people, or especially if you're like into cartooning or any of that stuff. That's one of those things that you're going to start to notice. Like look at book, if you have like comic strip kind of books, check out the people and see if they do like a close-up of the eyes, if the artists ever do that. It's kind of a fun little technique that you can play around with. So that's why I wanted to show you that idea. It makes the eyes sort of come to life, right? Like suddenly they have much more of a presence. They're not as dull. You can see where the light is coming from. It gives them a little more expression. And like I said, if you had like the too white down here, I think it would look like the eyes were cross-eyed, and that could be kind of funny. Mine, because I added this little thing that I thought was going to be a nose, but now it kind of has a mouth-like quality. Suddenly my eyes look so sad, don't they? Isn't that funny how you, like here, they could be happier if I'd made the mouth thing that looks down there like a mouth. If I had made it go that way, I think it would have made the eyes look happy. Isn't that funny how that works? That's crazy to me. One little thing makes it feel so different. So you can color the outside any color you want. I just thought it would make it a little more creature-like to add the actual paint in. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I just thought it'd be fun. Maybe you really just have so much fun making these eyes that you just want to fill a whole paper with eyes. That is fine with me. If you want to really tinker around and see what they could be. You could even add like horns coming up if you want to. Oops, sorry, you couldn't see that. You can add it however you want to add it. So have fun with it, because it definitely is very fun to play with. All right, guys, I can't wait to see your art. Shoot me an email if you get a chance. All right, have a good week.